right, and we are back ready to go on into game number 3. The lobby is all set. Let the players know, here we go. And that we are all set. Good luck, have funs all around. The allegation, game number 3 between HBOL and Poizon.
That's right.
Seen two very different games. Poizon very in control of game number 1, whereas HBOL seemed to be very in control of game number 2. So I think it's really a toss-up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's anybody's match. Until the end of this game, we won't know who's going to win it.
Aha! I like what you did there. Truth. So how are you doing?
Oh, you know, I'm doing just fine.
You're looking nice today. The allegation hairs come out nice and strong.
It's a little parted weird. I don't know what's going on with that.
Headsets, man.
Yeah. At any rate,
here we are into game number 3. In the upper right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss. Her name is Poizon.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, the purple Terran, able to win a game and secure one more game at least in this tournament. It is HBOL.
As I get all the things set up here on the map. Score is 1-1 in this best of 3. We'll be playing best of 3 matches through to the semifinals, at which point they will change to best of 5s going on through the grand finals. Double elimination tournament here today at Youmacon 2014 Detroit. As mentioned, we are in Detroit, Michigan. For those of you joining us here that have not been with us the rest of the day, thank you, and we appreciate that. We have quite the tournament here for you today. We do have Desro here, we have Winter here, we have Spider Slayer here, we have
Yoshi's here?
Yoshi, several people that are veterans of past Youmacons. Yoshi, HBOL is a veteran as well. He was here last year, so lots of awesome players, lots of awesome games that we've seen so far. We haven't seen any real walkovers so far, which is cool. Good, entertaining games.
Yeah, I mean, they've seen fairly evenly matched, especially that first game between HBOL and Poizon, when it's kind of coming down to a base race there. Doesn't really get a whole lot closer than that.
This looks like fairly standard opening here out of Poizon Gateway. Gas going down back of her base, while HBOL has gone for several different things, but his money is stacking up. He has not built anything else, so he's going for that early command center once again. Worked out well for him last time. I think we've seen that Poizon hasn't really put on a ton of pressure early. She's kind of poked a little bit with 2 or 3 stalkers at one point, but not really gotten anything major done. But there's a probe that is going around here. It looks like just scouting around.
Yeah, neither player really knows where the other one is. And that's why I think this early expand is actually a really good idea, is just because it's going to take a while for your opponent to find you. It's not known exactly where you're going to spawn, so you might as well just take the early economy.
Yeah. And HBOL is getting that expansion down while Poizon is, as we said, just kind of doing a standard opening here. HBOL here is going to find her very quickly, as she is hot on his trail as well, having scouted out the places that each other are not. The probes on the way. Mothership core will be coming here shortly, I'm sure, as the cybernetics core finishes. Probe and SCV high five. Looks like SCV does not want to let the probe get too far away.
Yeah, he wants to try and block that that nexus if he possibly can, and there it goes. Engineering bay going down.
So this is definitely something that can throw someone off, and it looks like she's attacking the bunker actually instead of the SCV, and just going to go ahead and leave that there. So now her challenge is to transition out of that. It looks like she's going to go ahead and put down her second gas and maybe another gateway here, as she's going to have to deal with that. Stalker is on its way, while HBOL is putting down a very early engineering bay here.
Now this is interesting, because Poizon's probe that went to scout originally did find the base and is really maximizing on that opportunity, but oh my, the Marine.
Yeah, HBOL is not going to be having any of that.
She does get the cancel off, though. That's a smart play.
Yeah, very good that she was able to get that off, as that would have been a wasted 100 minerals. Mothership core and probe going to go ahead and whack away at this bunker. You can kind of tell that she didn't really have a plan B, as the money is still kind of stacking up. Her savings account for the expansion is still saved, so she's going to go ahead and do that here as soon as the stalker moves out of the way.
Yeah, it looks like she's clearly focused on something else at the moment.
Waiting for it. There it goes. So HBOL here putting down 3 more barracks. Looks like he's going to want to get some action going right quick. He has gone for a faster factory before, but this game going right straight for 4 barracks, 2 gas, and Marine production, it looks like.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm in favor of this play. Like, you delayed your opponent's Nexus, and theoretically, you're going to put them a little bit off kilter. They're going to be trying to focus on getting their economy up a little bit because they're going to be feeling behind. And if you just roll in with a pretty big army, they might be caught off guard by that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think the downside here is Poizon's kind of going for the same type of build she's done before. And like we mentioned before the game, I think HBOL kind of has that figured out now and how to deal with it. So we'll see what she ends up doing, but HBOL is looking pretty good so far. He's got Tech Lab coming down on one of the barracks to be able to get that stim pack going. He actually did a supply drop here to save, it looks like, a period of being supply blocked. He is very cautious, though, putting these turrets down in his mineral lines as to protect against any shenanigans that may happen. Looks like the Observer of Poizon headed out as the natural expansion here finishes up.
And I mean, like, turrets, obviously you can figure out by scouting if your opponent is building anything like starports or DTs or things like that. But I mean, at this point in the tournament, you really just want to play safe. You want to and be really defensible. You don't want to lose to something like a stray Oracle.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that. I mean, he did get the SCV and he did scout, so you can kind of have an idea what's going on. But proxies are definitely always an option. And it's interesting that we haven't really seen. I've heard, kind of reports of some of the other matches that have gone on. I've heard. I think Desiree actually dropped a match to some kind of cheese accidentally, but then was able to come get it back. But we have not seen any super cheesy play so far today. Poizon playing it safe once again with the Observers, kind of keeping them at the general walking attack paths here of HBOL. Supply is staying fairly even so far, although it is about to ramp up as 3 reactors are being added onto these here barracks. So it's going to be a lot of Marines.
Yeah, but the downside to that is that there's no combat shield researching. There's no concussive shell for these Marauders. It looks like he's supply blocked here too. That opened up just now. So
Poizon does have a Warp Prism coming out, which we have not seen as early so far. The Robotics Bay has finishing up as well, so there will be Colossus production once again. But interested to see what she's going to do with this Warp Prism, as she hasn't really been able to get a whole lot of damage done on the economy of HBOL in the last couple games. But now that is going to be headed on out. And HBOL has actually done a fantastic job of scouting any type of things that would happen like that. She did try and put down a couple pylons a couple times.
There is that Warp Prism going the long way around, though.
And here she's seeing that HBOL is moving out here, so she's going to have to be cautious of that. Looks like a Colossus is about half done, going right for Templar Archives this time as well, so going for a much faster Templar. She's got a lot of tech spending going on.
I was just about to say, like, there's not a lot of army and there is a lot of tech, and so she's really in a precarious position right now. It's a gamble. It could pay off, if she's left alone for long enough a period of time. Then
I just don't think that's going to happen as HBOL is moving out across the map. Large army of Marines. I mean, she's going to see it coming, but it's going to be kind of rough as there's only 1 sentry, 2 zealots, and 3 stalkers. This is going to be pretty rough for Poizon.
Yeah, there's the warp in. She's bringing the forces together. Mothership Core is coming down to be able to put on that 4-ton overcharge. 1 Colossus is out, but she's really going to want to put that behind her forces. And here comes the engagement. 4-ton overcharge does go down.
Without combat shields, though, this Colossus is going to do ridiculous amounts of damage to these Marines.
For sure.
So actually did a nice job there of holding it off, but a double load up. But oh, that Observer, once again, she sees it going back. But this is where she struggled last game, is the double pronged attacks here, as she's going to be doing a drop in the main base and moving the rest up through the natural expansion. And she doesn't have a huge army, so she can't really split it to deal with this. Extended Thermal Lances, though, is about to finish, so that Colossus moving up. A little bit exposed, quick blink up. Looks like she's just trying to deal with the army in her main base and then go back and deal with the natural expansion. But he's going to go ahead and load up because his job of distracting her was successful.
And honestly, that photon overcharge kind of dealt with those few Marines that are there. There's only 3 left. And they were only really able to get shield damage done on the Nexus. So really not a whole lot lost to her in the natural due to that attack.
Yeah, she's going to have to kind of hang here between her 2 bases because there is still a threat from a drop as the HBOL dropped most of his Marines and Marauders out of the medevacs to heal on up. So actually, that went a whole lot better for Poizon than I thought it would. I thought she was going to have a real hard time with that.
In the meantime, there are 3 Zealots that have been unloaded into HBOL's main base.
Oh, no, there are.
And
this drop is going on again. There is a lone Colossus just standing there, which could be easily targeted down. It is going to get a couple marine kills. She does pull it back, though.
That forge may go down before this upgrade finishes, and it looks like it's going to, so no armor upgrade, and HBOL is happy with that. He's going to get on out of there.
There was a little bit of a commitment there from him. It did cost him several units there, but that threat is always still out there. There's about 1 medevac's worth of stuff and 2 medevacs, but he is moving out now, looking to secure a 3rd base. While in the main base, there are zealots ravaging the mineral line. This is exactly what Poizon needed to get done, as HBOL was not able to get a whole lot of damage done. Most of his army is out on the field, and she is kind of just going after, not really going after the targets that probably should be gone after now. They're kind of getting taken out, just whacking away at the barracks there.
Yeah, HBOL had really good reaction time to that. Just streamed those SCVs right on out of there, and because of this building placement, the Zealots had a really hard time trying to track them down. Marines came in, and that was cleaned up pretty easily.
I don't know if she targeted down that barracks or if that's just kind of what the Zealots went for. But drop going down again in the main base. Once again, a Stalker coming out of the Robo facility just at the right time, getting a few shots off. Photon Overcharge takes a few pot shots at the medevacs, just not able to get much done. So this is kind of going the same way that Game 1 did a little bit. HBOL poking around multiple places and Poizon kind of pulling off like heroic saves here, while at the same time she's actually poking in his base. Army supply still greatly in favor of HBOL, 137 to about 100. But once again, I feel like the firepower of Poizon is a little bit higher right now. She's got +2 attack going down, but HBOL is starting to make Vikings. Like you said, it's that big trade-off decision every time now, deciding between medevacs with this huge bio army and Vikings.
And there are 3 medevacs on the field that are full health, that are with, and there's 2 more elsewhere on the map that are about to go back in.
Yeah, only 3 medevacs though for this very large bio army is not a whole lot. So while these Vikings will take some shots down at the Colossus are going to be able to get a lot of damage in without the healing there. But looks like, oh, nice storm on the units and feedback there.
Yeah, she's just tired of that spot.
Does get the last medevac, so does not have to worry about that anymore. Scans going down on the midfield by HBOL to make sure that there isn't an army pushing out on the map. Once again, that observer is still there, seeing that the army of HBOL is well positioned back in his base, so taking out that drop is able to move out a little bit. This observer, though, is kind of just out of the way here now a little bit, not able to see a whole lot, but is controlling the tower here to be able to see. Oh, nice scan there going down, able to see the army of Poizon now beginning to move towards him.
And the Viking count is fairly high. There's 8 with this army here, so they could do some serious damage. There's not a ton of Stalkers, only 5 on the field, so this may not go great for Poizon if HBOL is able to set up and prepare for this.
Yeah, honestly, I think it would be a little bit silly for her to push in to make an actual, like, certified attack right now, because the supply is so lopsided and she doesn't really have much to tank for those Colossus. Starting to build it up a little bit, more Zealots coming into the fray, but it is still 190, almost 200 supply to 300. And HBOL is just kind of playing it close to the vest right now, and he sees those Colossus going after him for the Vikings.
And I do like this split here.
Oh, but there's a couple Templar there.
He's got to be real careful.
Oh, the storm goes down on the Vikings. Oh, this is not going to go well.
And those Vikings are able to really pick apart those Colossus. The Templar are so far behind here.
Yeah.
And
oh, wow, that was
a really good storm.
That was a really great storm. Wow, actually ended up cleaning up most of the bio there.
Yeah, and those storms really kind of, I think, saved the game for her for now, because otherwise that bio army would have been pushing right up into her.
Yeah, so now that he's got so many Vikings, she really needs to go back and maybe not make so many Colossus, but kind of go towards the Templar, Zealot, Archon with a few Blink Stalkers. I think would probably be the best bet right now, but she's on 3rd base, and so is HBOL. As far as the income status goes, 24 SCVs mining at the natural expansion of HBOL. Main base mined out, and the natural is a little bit undersaturated. So a little bit of income issues there for HBOL, while it looks like Poizon is looking pretty good, while the main is about to mine out. A little bit more diversified with the probes, and it shows in the income as it's fairly even, as Terran at this juncture should be a little bit ahead, given that it's 72 SCVs to 62 probes.
The gas mining for Poizon isn't as optimal as it could be. Those continued drops in the main base have kind of put her off guard a little bit on that closest gas to where the drops were. There's only one or one worker in there right now, so not a huge differential, but just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Poizon is definitely beginning to stack up on the Templar here a little bit. She does have a pylon mid-map, which is going to give away the position of HBOL moving out here.
And there are a lot of Templar over here that are fairly, I mean, they've each got like a storm on them, and they are just outside the range of that scan, too.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for HBOL. He is definitely dropping all the scans to see what's up. He's seeing that she's putting on her 4th base, which is going to be a good target for him. He does have lots of medevacs here. He could pick up and drop over there, warping in a lot of zealots as well. Those are going to definitely be the key here to tank in for this Colossus.
Yeah, but with that Viking count, I mean, there's 13 Vikings right there. He's got to be, I mean, Poizon's just got to be real careful about that.
Yeah, nice little split here with some zealots being up on top. The only one Viking, only one Colossus. So these Vikings are a little bit useless in the army count here, and I think that Poizon's able to clean this up fairly easily. All those zealots up on the top need to come back down here and help the stalkers, though.
Yeah, I think she was a little bit too focused on the Vikings right now. I mean, they were able to pick apart her Colossi, but now they're just useless standing there. And the storms are going down on the Vikings instead of on the bio.
Yeah, a couple nice storms down there, but there were a couple whiff storms as well. But this bio is all really low. A couple feedbacks on those medevacs would take out a lot of them. And the Templar are a little bit exposed there, but now running out. The Zealots do have charge, so they'll get right up there and surround that bio. Stalkers not really enough in number to do much about these medevacs, but right now looking like Poizon's looking all right. But HBOL loaded up a 3 big medevac drop, which I believe Poizon did see.
In the meantime, those 4 Vikings did land and are able to do some serious probe damage. 2 stalkers get warped in to try and deal with that, and the majority of them get taken out. Is that last one going to get out of there? Yeah, he does.
It's like 12 probes total killed by HBOL in that engagement, while there is a group of Marines and Marauders just kind of wandering out the middle that Poizon just barely misses with her army moving down here. But there are some stalkers here, but this is not what you really want to engage with these stalkers. Does have blink, though, so she could kind of pull back if she wanted to. But meanwhile, the big news is this drop in the main base.
Yeah, and that's coming down, and there's really just nothing here to defend against it, besides those cannons.
If she can hold this off, it's getting to the point where HBOL is starting to get a little bit split up here. But this is looking like a pretty big force. The fact that he's going for some of the other buildings is giving Photon Overcharge a little bit of time to do a little bit of damage and for her army to pull back. But this is a really awful choke point here. Now the Zeld's kind of running through, waiting for the Templar to get up there to have a storm.
Yeah, and they're just kind of filing in one at a time, and the micro here is able to do quite a bit of damage. They do load back in, and one of the medevacs gets picked off, but 2 full medevacs are able to get away. One of the things that I've noticed here from HBOL, though, that I really would like to see, especially with the number of Templar that are on the field, is ghosts. We haven't seen any ghosts come out of him.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just something he's not comfortable with, because I mean, once you start seeing Templar on the field like this, the automatic reaction is ghosts. So that would be my only thought to that. It looks like the army is kind of moving her on the left here. I mean, she's seen this factory hanging around. Honestly, the fact she lost that Nexus in the main base isn't really a big deal. Did lose 1 robotics. But that's not a huge deal also, because she's largely done making Colossus at this point. It's going to be Zealots, it's going to be Templar, and also the main base was mined out. So
oh my. So Poizon's army is on the left side of the map. That drop does come back into the main base, but is really just taking out not very central buildings. Takes out the gas there now. It takes out a forge. Going to be taking out that robotics bay, which is going to prevent any more Colossi from coming out. But she's kind of switched over to Immortal building anyway.
The important bit is going to be this Templar Archives right here. She's not going to be able to make any of those, but she's going to go ahead and go for it. Big engagement here, but oh, there's those ghosts. Big EMPs down on all of those Zealots. They just completely evaporate. This is looking like it's turning in HBOL's favor very quickly. Templar late to the party. Big storms are available because they all have full energy, at least 2 storms, but all that's left right now are the Templar. And I don't think HBOL wants to go up that ramp.
Yeah, but the Marauders are going to try and pick one. It does pick one off. Are they going to continue?
Oh, that poor Immortal. Yeah, so now it becomes the point where Poizon's going to start getting picked apart here. A few Zealots being warped in, but they are not going to get much done against these well-fortified bio armies. And Stalkers here, 2 Stalkers to 100 supply of bio. Once again, though,
oh no, the Templar! Oh, they just walked right into the army, didn't get anything off.
Now HBOL scanning around to see what's left, and honestly the key for him in both the games he's won has been this sort of like, not really a doom drop, but just like a very sturdy 3 medevac drop when he starts to see her move across the map. And there it is, the GG. So after dropping a game early, HBOL comes back to win 2 in a row against Poizon. So what, I mean, I could name a few things, but what in your opinion were the big things that helped HBOL come back in that match?
Well, I think that in that last game, or the last 2 games, what we saw pretty consistently was just he had a much greater pace of growth than Poizon did. So his production was much higher. He was able to outpace her in supply pretty consistently throughout both games. And I think that, I mean, that's just a big deal.
Yeah.
And she was able to get a lot of tech early, but you really have to capitalize on that. You really have to keep the supply low, and you have to be able to deal a lot of damage. She wasn't able to get in and do kind of economic damage. Was able to do kind of some military damage, but you know, she was really on the back foot, it seemed like, a lot of the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The first game, Poizon looked really strong. In the second game, I think HBOL just figured out what she was doing, and she didn't really change up her build all that much. Kind of fairly consistent build with very minor revisions. So I think once he got that kind of figured out, it made him feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, definitely a good long series from both of these players.
Absolutely.
So I think we're going to take a quick break here. I think we're going to get both players lined up for an interview here real quick. With HBOL first, our winner, and then Poizon, our loser, as she is now going to be out of the tournament after a second loss, unfortunately. And then we're going to be figuring out what our next match is, and we'll let you know here shortly. So hang on with us for a couple of minutes while we line up those interviews.